Try to speak French just to have fun. That's yeah. Okay, last session about Orchard Core CMS. I wish I had done it before Steve's session. You would have understood more things from his talk, but he didn't tell me what he would do in his talk, so that's why. That's synchronization issues.
That was purposeful. I knew you'd cover a lot of the stuff, Sam.
Next year we'll do it on the opposite side. So, why Orchard Core CMS? Worse features, worse usability, and worse performance. Okay, that's the goal.
You failed.
We'll see if well, no, at least it's easier to succeed. Okay, and to make it well. No, initially it was like better performance, better usability, and whatever. I'm like, that's obvious. When you start a new product, you want better everything. Okay, oh, it will be wonderful, and okay, we have done that 10 times. Oh, and next will be wonderful and fix all the issues and okay, promises, but well. Orchard 1 was supposed to be super usable and super fast and super features and whatever, but in the end we still want better, okay? Because actually there are things which are not that good. But that's the goals. We are reaching for the stars, and we'll see where we go. So yeah, all of this should be actually better, and that's why we do that, and that are the targets for Orchard Core CMS, and we'll see how we can do that, and hoping for the best. We'll see. Major changes in Orchard Core CMS. The major one is that Orchard Core is based on ASP.NET Core. The goals being that ASP.NET Core has a smaller footprint, faster components, like middlewares that we could not use in Orchard 1, and that will shortcut MVC, and they should be part of the modules. We could, but it was not easy, and it was done late in Orchard 1. Multi-platform, so you can run Orchard Core on Linux, Mac, and Windows, and maybe more. And next major change is that now it's using YesSQL, which is a document abstraction over any RDBMS. So we can run Orchard on SQL Server, SQLite, MySQL, and PostgreSQL. So far, without having to change anything in Orchard Core, it's really in the YesSQL abstraction. In Orchard 1, it's also in Orchard Core. In Orchard 1, it's also in the Orchard code. So we have to do some things to adapt, but now it should be easier to work with these databases. So that's the goal. And today it works, and I will show you how. Demo. Nick, here is a nice introductory slide to switch to a demo. Great, right?
Why didn't you provide me with that?
They are there. You say new slide, and you see all the templates. Ask. You can also look at the videos from last year and the year before and everything, and get ideas. That's just saying.
Really?
Next year. That's fine. So Visual Studio. So to work with Orchard Core CMS, you just download the solution from the GitHub project. You type build from PowerShell or the command line. You wait 5 or 10 minutes, depending on your internet connection, to download the packages and build all the projects. And then you can just type .NET run, and it will work in the correct folder. All the explanations are on GitHub, on the README, the main page. You just follow that. There are 5 bullet points, and just 3 of them tell you to do something, and that works. Ask Chris Durkin. The 2 Chris's are. It works, right? It works. You will see. Actually, I will. Maybe you don't have the tooling, which is.
You won't ever be able to use it in 2015, though, right? Once it's
well, later, but right now it's still 2015, and I'm showing it in 2015.
Never happened. We are not upgrading.
The 2017 is a branch that no one is using right now, but Nick and Dave and Daniel to test, and that's it. So, but right now it works in 2015. What I'm showing is 2015. Master is 2015.
Okay. So
We'll
the
merge.
front stuff isn't merged back in.
No, we won't merge actually. We'll wait for Nick to merge his branch and apply all the changes that we have in this branch on this branch. Okay? Well, on master. So it was just to see if it was working. So what you have here is two web projects, but what we care for the CMS is this one. This one is to show how to use the SaaS framework with Orchard and not the CMS. These are the modules that are not CMS related and can be applied anywhere. And these are the modules for the CMS, okay? A bunch of modules. So what I just do is start, I can run debug and it will work. Well, it usually works when I do that. So I'm quite confident. So this is a new setup screen. As of today, everything I will show you is not defined until shipped, okay? So you can change everything, it's open. You can create pull requests, ask why we do that, ask to do something else, everything is open. We just decided it will be this way, it can change, okay? It's a community-driven project. You are the community, drive the project and it will change. If you just want to be in the back seat, that's fine too, if you trust the drivers. That's okay. And some people, and that's okay, always question why did you turn left and not turn right, and explain to me. But that's okay. Daniel, it was you.
What?
I'm saying why you always ask why we chose that and not that because you care about, there must be a reason or questioning the decision. So that's good. I'm saying that's, you are right not to say anything and you're right to say everything you want. And you can ask him every time he challenges a decision. That's good because we have reasons to decide and we change our minds. That's totally okay. So please, community driven, please community drive. They're like automatic cars, who cares? No, we want people to drive the cars, right? Who said that? So this is the name of the site. So this is almost the same setup screen as the Orchard one. Name of site, I will use demo. Recipes, like in Orchard one, a bunch of recipes. Here we have content management system, which will enable all the modules from the content management folders. We have software as a service, which means just the modules that don't care about CMS at all. And you have an empty application that does nothing, or nothing, but just to show that you don't have to set up a CMS, you can set up something else. And blog, which is a testing recipe with some content, layers, and everything we have in the CMS. So we have actual things and a nice theme to work with. So this is the one I will be using because it's nicer. Then the database, like in Orchard one, the 4 options, so more than in Orchard one. And here I will use SQL Server, and I can type a prefix. I could also show you with the other ones. They work on my machine. I have 2 Docker containers for these ones, and SQLite will just work with nothing. So here I will use a prefix. So the Wi-Fi was working very well before, right? I did my other demo. Okay, now it's back. Oh my God, what's happening? Yes, SQL was demoed on the Wi-Fi too, and
I found an answer, by the way, to that question.
Okay, go for it.
If you paste the project to be the very first project in the solution file, that's the default. If there's not one already set.
Oh wow.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's one.
with the magic of video editing, nobody will see that nothing happened. If I put my mouse exactly where it was. That's very bad, right?
It's almost like living door again.
No Wi-Fi doesn't.
I mean, I'm going to assume the entire city's now out of internet.
Why, you don't have internet?
Yeah, it dropped out.
Yeah.
It's gone.
But you're on Wi-Fi, so nobody has Wi-Fi. That's it? Is the Wi-Fi down or is just...
No,
It's connected. It's
mine's working.
Yep, there we go.
It's fast. Someone's turned your machine off.
Yeah, I'll turn BitTorrent off. You think that'll help?
Okay, as a backup, I will start it from local. Yes, action needed. Tell me what to do. Oh my god. Okay, locally. I'm afraid the packages won't be updated, but I was on master, so maybe it will still work. Ah, yes, SQL. Ah. So it's loading the projects.
Sebastian, I can't remote into my machine either, so.
Tell me when you can.
You know what you put a water? They got hacked.
And now Visual Studio is restoring the packages, so we have to wait for Visual Studio to restore packages.
Got time for a question while we wait for that?
Yes.
You showed the database structure before when you were demoing YesSQL, and it looked like it was basically every table was just a key value pair, essentially.
Every table, no, just one table. The content table is a key value pair.
Okay, and the rest are indexes to.
Yes. If your index has 10 fields, you will have 10 columns.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I was thinking of whether we could use Redis potentially as a storage. But
We can use Redis for storage, not for the querying.
Right.
So historically, we would have liked to use something like Lucene for both querying and storing. But at that time, Lucene.NET was not even core, so we could not use that or not even think about it, and then migrate to Elasticsearch if we don't want the file-based storage, like a server-based solution. So we went to this solution. So I'm back online. Nobody happened. Nothing happened, sorry, nobody. And I wanted to type harvest 01 just for the first prefix, so I can use different sites on the same database, a connection string, which is a local database, SQL, a username, like in Orchard 1, and new in Orchard 2, you have to type an email. The idea is that now when it's creating the default admin account, we will have an email. Otherwise, when you will have to edit the admin account, it will require to type an email. Now it's by default, it's requiring an email. Type a fake email if you want, but it wants an email. Then this password, we have confirmation, and we have a password strength progress bar. It's actually a password verification progress bar because it doesn't say if your password is strong or not. It says if it complies with the requirement of the password. So it's green like it's the password that the machine wants. It's not like a strong password. But if you define a strong password policy by default, then it will be like a strong password indicator. In this case, the default is 1 uppercase, or it's written actually, 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, and 6 chars in total. And it's configurable. It's based on the ASP.NET identity security options, so we can configure it. Finish setup. Blog, demo, boom, SQL Server.
So Sebastian, you said that, just to clarify, that goes green when all of those things have met.
Yes.
It was orange for me.
It's green. Change your glasses and you will see it's green.
Now when I put my password in, or one of my
Then it should fail. Then it should fail. Then there is a bug. Please file a bug because this is an issue. So because we had to implement a JavaScript validator, which will match the server-side validator. Okay, so it will reload all the constraints on JavaScript, check it, and then send to server. So there must be an issue in the JavaScript code. So this is a default blog that is created from a recipe, a menu with 2 items, a title, a subtitle from a custom field, and 1 blog post. This is a widget which appears on every page. So if I click on About, you see every page. If you find it slow on the first click, it's because of Taylor. Razor compilation is slow. And to make it fast, there are 2 options. Well, the main option is to precompile the views. So there is a Razor precompilation command with .NET precompile, something like this. You don't know?
It's a really long.
No, it's not that long. And then it will precompile all the views from all the modules and everything into the bin folder, and then there is no cost for precompilation, and it will be as fast as any new request. And I will show you. I click and it's there. It's magical. It's as magical in Orchard 1, so you don't see. You will see when there are like thousands of requests per second. It will be much better. So this is the website. Home, which is the blog, so the list of blog posts, 1 blog post, and an about page. Okay? But it looks nice. There is a theme, so it validates that everything is working in Orchard. And it went through a recipe, so Orchard works. So now, if we want to go to the admin, like in Orchard 1, we go /admin. There is no link in this theme, but we can add a link if we want in the recipe or in the theme, up to you. The user I created with my default recipe. I log in. Yeah, I do that. I tell you tens of times every day, so it must work now. So this is a new admin menu. Difference between Orchard 1 and Orchard 2 is that Orchard Core is that in Orchard Core you can now customize the admin menu. An admin menu is like any other menu. You can select a setting and change the admin menu. So if you want to customize your own logo, your own colors and everything without to change Orchard's code, you can. This morning Steve did that for the site theme, but you can also do it for the admin theme. Okay, you can select the name of the admin theme. Obviously, it will need some CSS and views that correspond to the admin theme, but you can do it. It's a setting now, so you can change it by default. So the navigation is like almost in Orchard 1, but now everything is responsive because it's based, the admin right now, this theme is based on Bootstrap 4. And when I go down, the menu disappears and shows an hamburger, cheeseburger, a burger, and you can switch that. And on a phone, it works very well, and it's still there are big icons, so you can touch it and tap it. That's good. So it works well. So I will do that. There's a bug, but that's work in progress. Oh, you didn't see the bug. That's good. There is no bug. There is no bug. Oh, for the editing. So here, this is admin menu. What we decided during the meeting is that to make the first level be with a minimum set of items, and then we'll drill down into more options, and there can be multiple levels. As you can see here, content contains imports, which contains things. Okay, so we can have multiple levels. Still work in progress, but it's better than, it's some progress. Setup, navigation, admin. Now I will create some page. So we have the page content type, like in Orchard 1, is just a title. Do I need to zoom, or is it fine?
It's fine.
I have a title. I will say page 1. I have a permalink, which I will get auto-generated. This is the auto route. Subtitle is a field that this specific recipe created, but I will leave it empty. And a body, which I will take from a lorem ipsum text. Okay? Simple. I can publish, save draft, or preview. And I will just save draft for the moment, just to show you that if I go to content items, like in Orchard 1, we have the title, it's a draft, and some metadata about when it was modified. Okay, same as Orchard 1. We don't change what works. What didn't work in Orchard 1 and that we fixed already in Orchard 1 is that now you have a separation of the actions between the drafts and the published version. Okay, you can more easily understand what you are doing on which version. Here we just have a draft, so you can publish a draft or preview the draft. So let's preview, and you can see the page 1 with the content I typed. Okay. It's using a content item ID which is different in Orchard Core. It's GUID, a special form of GUID, but it's a GUID, it's a unique identifier, it's a string. It's shorter than a GUID because it's using more chars than the A to F, the 0 to F one, so it's using all the alphabet, and that makes it shorter. And I can publish it by saying action publish draft, and I can see it's published. I can then action unpublish or delete everything, view same thing. If I go to the editor and I save a draft, I will now have the published version which is published and the draft version which is available. So my actions, I will have publish draft, preview draft, discard draft, which is also new in Orchard 1, and we have it in Orchard Core. So to delete just the draft, and unpublish to unpublish the current published version. Okay, it will become, the draft will still be the draft, the unpublished version will be deleted or removed. It's not deleted per se, but it will be removed. And delete will actually remove both draft and published version. Okay, so very obvious. There is no ambiguity about what it does, and right? Otherwise, the same as in Orchard 1. Bulk actions are still not yet implemented, but so many people in the community that it won't be long before it's done. So that's it for the content page. And now I will show you a new feature, new for those who have never seen Orchard Core, which is the preview. Okay, the preview is to preview the content before you can publish it. So here it's opening a new pane that I can resize. Okay, and because I can resize it, I can see how it behaves with the responsivity. And if I had a bigger screen than the projector, you could see that it works, but I can't. So
Is buttons at the top broken?
it's since the migration to Bootstrap Alpha 6 that they broke something, and I can't fix that. And because we want to rework how the preview is done, we don't fix it because we'll make it better overall. Okay. Right now it's an iframe in the page. We want it to be poppable, so we can have two different things, and even shareable, so you can share a link to preview something that doesn't exist, things like this. So yeah. So why this feature? Because Chris made it for Orchard 1, we were jealous, so we made it for Orchard Core. And the nice thing with this feature, what?
Chris started making it. It's not finished.
The nice thing with this feature is that it's a live editing experience. So as I am typing, for instance, a title, I will see the response done. So page 2, or this is a page. Okay? And if I change the body, lorem ipsum, and I can change the font and move things around, everything will work. Okay? Sounds like there is a bug here, but no, you just type, oh, it's the HTML which is broken. Oh my god. The editor, where is the, something happened. I broke the, maybe I should not have moved something like this. Oh my god. That's okay, I can copy paste again. It's fixed. Boom. So this is the idea. And it's very easy to do. As a developer's perspective, you don't have anything to do because it will just submit the creation of the item and render it as if it was saved in database, and you get the result from the theme, from the actual front-end theme. So it will just work. So for the designers, for the editors, it's very nice because they can see exactly what they will have before saving a draft or publishing. I have not saved anything. It's just if I publish or save draft that I will see the actual rendering on the database. Okay. So that's it. With that, I will publish it because I want to see it. And if you click View, you can actually go to the real page because now it's published. Now we have also the menu which has been done. So if I go, so the menu is a content item. So you don't see the menu here. You see it in content items right now, and you see the menu, which is called the main menu. It's a content item, which means in Orchard Core that it's one JSON document. The full menu is one JSON document. It's not like one content item with all its version, and each menu item is another content item, and you have to load everything, and it's lots of queries. It's one content item, so it's one query to get the full menu. If I click on the main menu, I go to the editor, and you saw it with Steve this morning. You can add items by clicking on Add Menu Item. This is completely extensible, so we can have many types of menu items. This one is just a link, but again, it's based on a content type with a menu item stereotype. It's just that every menu item, being a content item, is actually embedded in the menu object. So we have many items, but many content items, but they are all embedded in one JSON document. So this makes it much faster. And still extensible because you can create content items with custom fields and custom types, custom renderings, so exactly as Orchard One, just faster. You can reorganize your menu with hierarchies, move them around like in Orchard One, so nothing special here. If I click on a new menu item, leave, I don't want to save my changes, a link to Google, because why not? I now have that. And a menu is a content item. So again, I don't think it was the case in Orchard 1. Orchard 1 menu items were content items, but not the menu. Now the menu is a content item, which means I can have a draft of the full menu and publish or later publish the menu and also go back to revisions. So if I don't save anything and I go to the front end, okay, I'd still have the same menu. If I save it as a draft, I still have the same menu. And if I go to my content items, I can see that I have a published main menu and a draft main menu. Okay? And in theory, when I publish it, I have the new menu item. So I say in theory because Antoine filed an issue, I think that it didn't work, no, with caching or something like that. Because the menu is cached, I will show you later. So when we change the menu, it will invalidate the menu cache and it will rewrite the menu. That's the idea. So that's it for the menu. Now I will show you the content types and content type definitions. So same thing as in Orchard 1, almost the same UI. You can see that we have stereotypes here. I will show them later. We can see the link menu item is a menu item stereotype. So if I create a new content type with menu item stereotype, they will appear in the menu editor. I will create a new menu, a new type, sorry. I will call it customer and technical name like in Orchard 1. I can add parts like in Orchard 1. I will just give it, what, title, save. And same as in Orchard 1, I can define creatable, listable, draftable, and secureable. And I can add fields and parts. So I will just add a field that I will call a field. When I have no idea, I have no idea. Okay, it's a field. I can have a hint, and I can select an editor. So it's like the flavor, but it's not called flavor. It's called editor now. Multi-line or standard. I will say standard. Extensible like in Orchard 1. Everything is like in Orchard 1, and sometimes it's better than in Orchard one. That's good. So here we can see we have fields and we have the parts. And what we can do in Orchard Core is that I can take the parts and move them, reorder them, just so that in the editor we can reorder the fields to edit the customer. It's a customer. So for instance, if I put title before customer here, this is a fake part. This is just a holder for the fields. So I will have the fields after the title. So I will save my parts, and if I create a new customer, I will have my title and the field here. Okay, like in Orchard 1. Nothing special here. What is new in Orchard Core is that I can add named parts or standard parts. A named part is a part that you can reuse across content types and also reuse even inside a content type. So let me show you. If I go to content definition and create a new part, I will create a part called address. A part is a reusable set of fields which are configured. So it's some fields and their configuration. So if I create a part called address, I can say I can add fields like city. It will be a text and no hint, and I will add a zip code, zip, which will be a what? Text. We don't have numerical field? Okay. Antoine, what have you done?
Zip code is not number.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm French, sorry. In France, it's a number, so that's why I thought stupid. I live in Bellevue, I have a zip code. No, it's a number. No, it's a number.
Zero something? Leading zero. Ça commence par zéro.
I don't get what zip.
There can be a leading zero.
Oh, that's why you say okay. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean WA-90, whatever. No, okay. Good. So I have fields, and I will check the reusable one to make this part reusable for a type. So if I say save, now I go back to my type customer here, and I can add the address part. I will add a named part. It's not like based on the type, it has a name like business address. Okay, and I will say, oh, the address. This is only a reusable part right now I have. And I will say add a name part. Stupid, because the company doesn't have a shipping address, but let's say shipping address again. Okay, and I have two parts of type address that are in my type. So I can say I want the fields first, and then the business address, and then the shipping address. So when I create a new customer, internet.
So what's the difference between a name part and a field?
Technically, nothing. But in the storage, instead of having the type of the part as the name property of the object which contains the parts, is the name of the name part.
No, I didn't say between a part and a name part, between a field and a name part.
Thank you for the question, which you know the answer, or maybe you forgot. The answer is that a field,
I'm confused.
And I mentioned it explicitly when I mentioned what a part is. A part is a set of fields which are configured. A field doesn't have configuration. When we have a text field, we don't know what is its hint, what is its max value, min value, do you want to do that and that. This configuration is the usage of a field plus settings. A part contains settings and fields for each field. So if we had to add, and field is the minimum thing that we can reuse. So we need setting. A setting is attached to a part, and a part is attached to a content type. A field can be attached to a type. We create a fake part. We don't show it. That's the difference between a part and a field. A part contains fields plus its settings. So that's why we need a concept that will hold the two of them, data plus configuration. And here you have the title.
A question about those parts and fields. How does the configuration in terms of settings for the fields behave across different content types? Because what we have actually is when we have, like in the term part, we have the content picker field for a gallery. Well, we actually have two, and we want one to be mandatory for a given term part, for a given taxonomy term, and one to be mandatory for another, and the other being optional. We can't do that.
Well, if
whatever we said goes across between the types that contain that part. So we create a custom part that has two content picker fields.
Yes.
And then we use that part in two different.
Yes, because the settings are attached to the part. So when you attach the part,
Yeah.
they share the same settings. You need to create two different parts because they hold.
Yeah, I know, but is it the same?
Yes, that's the same. Yeah, because the part contains the settings for the field. If in different settings, you need a different part.
So it's not like type dot part
Yeah.
dot settings.
So what happened is that we have types, parts, and fields in terms of hierarchy, and there is a notion of part field definition, which is the relationship, the association class between a part and a field, which will contain the relationship plus data about the relationship. And there is the same thing between parts and content type. So a content type can have parts, and for each relationship, you can have different configuration. It's a content type part definition. But there is no thing like content type part field definition that will define the settings for a field just for a part for a content type. There is nothing like this.
And it's not there even in the core.
No. No, it's too complex. What you can do is create two different parts because they will have different field settings. And that's how you should do that.
Okay.
So that's a new concept in Orchard Core. You can reuse parts just to hold data and repeat it across types. That's the idea. Even within a type, actually, multiple times. And when you want to access the data, you say my customer.contentitem.content.business address as a name part, like you will say like .body part, no, .business address, .city, .shipping address, .city. Okay, it's just a property in the JSON document. So that's the idea with content type new features. Now I will show you some new things. We have done things better than Orchard one. We have for blogs actually. So if I go to content items, we have the blogs, and the blog is not a feature in Orchard Core. It's just using the list feature. The list feature, like in Orchard one, lets you create a content type which is a set of other items. Okay? And if I go to content definition, content types, and I look at the blog content type, the blog content type is just a dynamic type which has been created by the recipe. And it has the blog fields, nothing, the body part, so it has a body, it has a title part, an author route part, and a list part. So a blog has a list. And if I did the list part for this blog, so if I did the settings of this part for this type, I can see that I can define for this type what the list is made of. It's made of blog post. But I could say this type is made of these things. And it can be more than just one type. You can say, oh, my list is based on things from this type, and this type. The idea is that when you create a new, well, let me edit the blog to show you. So if I go to content items and I go to the admin side of the blog, I will see all the blog posts associated to this list. And if I click on create, it will show me all the available types for this list. So in a blog, I can create a blog post. But I could have a new concept which will be a container of different kind of things. Okay? So that's a new thing in a way that in Orchard 1, blog was an actual thing, but we know it was not abstracted correctly. So Sipke worked on the list module to make it possible. So we could create blogs with list already in Orchard 1. So we decided in Orchard 2, don't make a blog module. We just use the list module, like in Orchard 1 we can do now. And not only we have that, but we also have blog-related features available for all the lists. For instance, if I go to the website, and I look at the source, you will find there is an RSS here. So this list, you see it's a list feature, has an RSS feed. It's good for blogs, but it's good for any list, as long as you want an RSS on any list. And if I click, I can see the RSS feed for this blog. It's just a list. It doesn't know it's a blog. It's a list for it. And we also have the management of Open Live Writer, like using MetaWeblog API. it will work with any list. You can, I haven't enabled the feature, but if you enable the feature, you could edit your blog post, your blog list of blog posts with any XML RPC meta web blog editor, so Open Live Writer or anything, okay, like in Orchard 1. But now it's for any list. So if you have a list of pages, you can create pages with Open Live Writer. That will work. As long as it has a body, it will work. So that's the idea with the blog. Something else I want to show you is tokens. If I go to the content types, to the blog post content type, you will see that we have a default. So for the author route, which will define the URL for the blog post, we have a default token pattern to define the blog post. So it just says, use the slug of the content item, so the title-based URL for the content item. But before that, as the container of the content item, use the slug and slash. So it will actually get the title of the blog slash the title of the content item. Okay? This is why when we have a blog post here, like this one, we have the title of the blog, which is blog, and the title of the blog post, which is post 1. So we have blog slash post 1. And if you want to change it, exactly like in Orchard 1, you could use a custom pattern like this one, which will say get the title of the container, the blog, then use slash, then format the current date to year, month, day, and then the title. So if I save that, let me click something just to be able to reinitialize an existing item. If I go to content items and I edit the blog post, the current one, and I delete its URL, it will regenerate it using the new, you see, blog slash here, and the title, which I changed. Kind of wrong, but bugs, don't worry, will be fixed.
Did you say where the syntax comes from?
My brain. Oh no, you mean the handlebars, not the datetime format, whatever. Handlebars.
Yes.
So the syntax comes from, yes, you're right. That's why I wanted you. Sorry. Content type. It was just to say there is a documentation. That's why I'm saying my brain. I thought it was a question. Where is it coming from? Like, how do we invent things? I mean, it's not documented yet, but we have lots of documentation. We try to make lots of documentation as we write the features. So let me show you. Blog post, auto route. So it's kind of different than in Orchard 1 because, yes, the syntax is actually like Orchard 1, like curly braces, but it's handlebars. The idea being that we don't want to reinvent something that already exists and does it better than what we could do, or does it faster also. So the handlebars is a templating engine on JavaScript that also has an extension on, or an implementation on .NET. So we are using the .NET implementation of the handlebars template engine. And this way, we can link people to documentation because it exists. Or maybe there are web designers and they know handlebars already, so they are familiar with that. And many things are already handled that we would have had to do. So this is handlebars.
So does it mean that you can only generate strings from tokens?
Yes.
I suppose that's okay.
I think so. For tokens, everything which has to be tokenized, I would say yes.
Yeah, I can think of an example.
Okay, that's good. Because 000 is also a string. As long as we say, well, I mean, that's fine. We can generate.
Ooh, workflows.
No, it uses scripts. It will use script. Otherwise, it's strings or scripts, and we'll see scripts also. So that's it for tokens. We're using handlebars. I don't think we'll change the language for handlebars. I'm not sure. There is a design issue on GitHub that we might want to change to Liquid, which is another template engine which looks like this, but has different constraints which might be better for us. So we'll see. We are still looking at it. It's not finished. And it can be changed very easily. So that's it. Now layers, maybe the most important part. Layers, widgets. So in Orchard 1, we have widgets, okay? And we have parts, and we have elements, and we have snippets. We have many things to display stuff on the UI. In Orchard Core, we try to make only one concept that we'll call widgets. So widgets won't be just about layers in Orchard Core. It will be about any block of HTML you want to render somewhere, based on some conditions, or based on whatever you want. It will be a widget. So there is no more technically two different concepts like elements and widgets, layout and layers. It's the same thing now. So let me show you. A widget is a content type and a content item. So you can still have the widget stereotype, and you can still add parts and fields and everything, but it will also work with layouts. So let me show you first the layers module. So now, because widgets is no more the feature, is just a way to represent things, we have a feature called layers. Where is that feature? There, layers. So you saw that with Steve this morning. This is the list of layers that this recipe has created, the always layer and the home page layer. I will edit the always layer. The always layer, like in Orchard 1, says, well, in Orchard 1 it was called default. I called it always. We can change that. Okay, it's just I spent like 20 minutes thinking about it, and I also had many, and I end up with that. Because default, I'm like, nobody understands default. What do you mean default? Always, I'm like, okay, you know?
Everywhere.
Everywhere, okay.
No, it's not about place, it's about time.
Oh, and wait. No, yes. You will see after with my other example.
Space and time are the same thing.
Okay. So always, the rule, which could be called condition also, like in Orchard 1, is true here. Okay? And everyone understands true, it means always. Whatever. Description, okay, save, blah, blah, blah. Home page. How is home page done? Home page is home page. It's a function, okay? So it looks like exactly like in Orchard 1. And also it's extensible like in Orchard 1. And I have layers. I can click there to see which ones are in which layer. So obviously this one is on the always layer, and it's written there with a little badge. It's published because it's a widget. Widgets can be drafted and published and versioned and everything and localized. That's beautiful. This is the same summary admin as any content item, so you can unpublish, view it, edit it. It's beautiful. And you can move it across zones. Okay? So this one, for instance, this is the copyright widget. This is this text, which is now moved to the content zone. And because moving is easy and could be done by mistake, you have an undo button that will revert what you just did, in case. So if I move it there, and I go F5, it moved in my content. Okay? Everywhere, because it's always. I will put it back there. I will create a new widget. I will add a widget in the content zone here, and here I can see all my widget types, so the content types which are of stereotype widget. I will create a paragraph. So it goes to the editor of the content item widget, like in Orchard 1, and I will call it a paragraph. So it has a title because it's a widget, a paragraph. And I don't want to render the title, which layer always, and I will put some content. I can save as a draft or publish. If it's a draft, it won't be rendered, so I will publish. It's there. I F5 my page. It's some content here, okay? Some HTML. I can create a new one. I will use a block quote because I have a quote explicitly. So the block quote is a different type, so it has a different editor. In this case, it's just a field in a type named block quote. I will say a block quote. And not always, but on the home page only. And the quote, I will use a famous one because I worked hard to find a nice quote. And publish it. So if I F5, I don't see it because I'm on the About page. F5, some content, and the block quote. And you see it's rendered differently. So widget can be rendered differently. And it's themed. Yes?
You have the drop down for add widget. What happens when you have a ton?
Oh, you don't have tons of widgets because we don't have time to build so many widgets. Yes, we thought about it, and we know that we will have to change this speaker to have like a pop-up like the link up menu items or something else. We'll decide. But yes, I like pop-ups. I click and I can see, because we can also, like we did for link menu items or type of menu, and I will show you also with the import-export, is that there are shapes, so you can even, when you provide the component, you can design how it looks like with a logo, with a text, with everything. It can be translated. So that, yeah, I like these pop-ups with these little cards that show what things you can. And we also be able to categorize them, because you might have categories of widgets based on data, based on customers, based on whatever type. Yeah. So, and it's completely extensible. The ones I'm showing here are built from the recipe. And the theme contains templates for these widgets. So they are dynamic, they can be based from recipes, and they are customizable from the editor and from the rendering also, very easily. And you can move it, and it's beautiful. And yes, you see here. So I will just create a new layer just to show you the power of the rules. I will call it sometimes. I'm creating a layer called sometimes. I'm creating a layer called sometimes. It's okay, we'll come back there later. I created a layer called sometimes. Okay. Oh, I know, okay. And this layer
should be called someplace.
No, because it's about time. It's using
This one is okay.
new date, yes, but yes, homepage should be someplace on the homepage, and this one is sometimes. So new date, get seconds, modulo 2 equals 0. Can you do that with Orchard 1?
Nope.
Thank you. Maybe you can, but not yet. So here, the idea is just JavaScript. You put any JavaScript that returns true or false, or a string. If you return a string, it will be evaluated as true, because in JavaScript, a string is true. So sometimes, or every 2 seconds. No, only odd seconds, okay? Whatever. So I create it, and if I say block quotes, I want to assign it to sometimes only. I publish it. I go back anywhere now. F5 not. You see? Every 2 seconds. You can do crazy things now, okay? But crazy things, but at the same time, this is what you need, because sometimes your widget that needs to appear on these pages, but on this context, and you need to do some things like this. So you can do ifs and else and functions and everything you need. So,
so could you use that for A/B testing and things like that? So
you could do A/B testing, like based on the IP, you could say, or whatever the time of the year, or whatever you need, yeah.
So can you access parts of the content from your JavaScript?
No.
Do you have access to the environment name in there as well?
But no, but no, because it's assigned to the layer, and we validate it only for the layer, and then the widget will use the same. So it's not per widget.
Right, but if there was like a token for the currently rendered.
Oh my God. Yes, we could have something that could condition the widget, like we thought about for the elements. Right. You could have. Gert.
Previously, the menu was in the layers as well. How would you manage the menu now?
Yes, you can have a widget that will render the menu. We can do that because it's any widget. But the menu right now, okay, the menu is actually some layout concept. I think we can agree on that. Some menus are defined by the layout. My layout says I need a menu at the top. I could do it in a widget, that would work, but it's more computing for nothing, because I know it will always be rendered in the layout. And I don't want people, and I don't need people to move it around. My menu, my main menu needs to be there. So this one that I'm using right now in this theme is defined in the layout. And let me show it to you, because I think it's important. Thank you. He should have showed it, but he didn't. He did, actually, but he didn't emphasize on it.
You'd have nothing to talk about.
Sorry. So if I look at the layout for this theme, there is actually a shape and a shape tag helper that is called menu somewhere.
Just there.
Just there. You see here, and I say menu alias, and here I'm linking to a content item by a nice name. Not the content item ID, a nice name. Because we have an alias part that will let you give a nice name to things. So we say load the item by its alias main menu, and then we say cache this shape, and cache it for 5 minutes, or less if it's invalidated, and cache it and uncache it or invalidate it when the thing called alias main menu changes. So I'm invalidating this shape based on the content item main menu. So when the main menu is changed, refresh the menu rendering of the main menu. So this makes the menu to be cached. And this is part of the layout, and you can do it for anything. So when a widget should be everywhere and immutable, let's put it in the layout. Less processing to do, less loading from database, can be cached and everything, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's just outside there's got the concept of a person can log in and the menu changes based on its login.
It should be, yes. Yes, we could have different menus based on different people, based on rules, and we could also have custom menu item logic to show, hide things, but yeah, the cache will also need to be variable by that. Yeah, I don't like these things, but yeah. I understand that people need that, at least. And when I say I don't like, I will try anything to convince people that they don't need that, because it's hard to manage. Okay, so that's for the layers. And now I will show you flows. How should I pronounce it? Flows.
Yeah.
Flows is good? Thank you. Should I ask you? Is there Steve, flows. Flows?
I didn't do flows.
How do you pronounce it? Flows. Thank you. So flows. I will create a new flow page. A flow page is a page with a title. But here we can see it's not a body, it's widgets. So you can create pages based on widgets, because a widget is now the atom of a page to place reusable content types on a page. So layers are based on rules, conditions, but what if I want to create a page based on widgets, because I want to reuse the same block quote widget, the same paragraph widget, the same image widget, like I have in my layers. In Orchard 1, we had to either clone them elements widgets or use a wrapper which will create a widget as an element or an element as a widget. It was a mess. So now we can rewrite it. Let's do it as widgets. So here I can do add widgets. I have a long list of widgets. I will select a paragraph. And the big difference between layer widgets and these widgets is just that the editor will render them inline in the editor. Okay? So here I can see my paragraph is here, and I will take a quote. Paste it here. Same thing, and I can publish it. And it's there. Oh, I will add a new one, another one. Add widget, paragraph. I could have done multiple of them without publishing. Publish. So the idea is to replace the layout module by something which has a simpler editor that will be also responsive editor, because now it will work on small screens. And still provide some layouting flexibility. I will show you after. So if I view this content item, you can see that I have the widgets and I have two paragraphs here. There is a space in the middle because the lorem ipsum must contain some carriage returns here and there. Okay, publish. And the nice thing with flows is when you have it with preview. So you can actually see what you are creating live. So here I have my two paragraphs, okay? And I will put the second one bold. Okay? And if I move this one on top of the first one and I drop, I can see that my page is changed automatically. So for the editor, you can directly see what you are moving, the pieces you are moving, and how it looks like. Also, what you can do with, and I hope it will work with this size of screen, is that, that's bad. We need a bigger screen. Let me fake a bigger screen.
You just zoom out, I think, if you want.
I can't resize Chrome bigger than the, it's crazy, right?
You can zoom out.
Yeah, I will do that, but I'm like, it's weird. Okay, you don't see anything, it's just for demonstration, it will work. Okay, so here you see I have the full menu. So now you can see the demo, that it will be responsive. Boom, it's magical. Okay, I go back there. So I can move. And so what we have with flows is that you can define the size and the location of your different widgets in the page. So here you have, let's say it's justified, so it will take the full size. Well, it will be aligned normally. But I can say this will take 50%. So the first paragraph will take 50%. And the second will still take 100%. So I will also change the second paragraph to take 50%. And now because they both take 50%, they are aligned like this, okay? And you can reorder your different elements. There are two paragraphs, but this could be a paragraph and an image, a block quote, whatever. Yep. And if I move them around, well, it will go on the left. And I can add new one, for instance, that will be 100%. Or let me delete this one, yes, and create a block quote instead. Block quote, go on still.
So that 50% is obviously dictated by the CSS. I guess you're using Bootstrap. So if you wanted to use something totally different, like roll your own grid or Flexbox or something.
So how we did that for this theme is we have a CSS file in this theme that is called flow, and just say these are the classes that are defined by the module. We just say widget size 66% is actually in Bootstrap called SM8. Okay? And this is how we do that. So we redefine the CSS that has been generated to look like this. We can also redefine what CSS will be generated.
Okay.
But I didn't want to create an alternate just for that. I'm fine with the classes. They are good as they are. I just want to redefine what they will look like in my theme. So yeah, size 33 for widget will be call SM4. That's how it's done in this theme, but you can redefine what CSS will be rendered. Same thing for the alignment of every component. So here you see, this one is 100%, is after them, so you can, that's why it's called flow. You reorganize the flow of your widgets in your page. And you can have as many widgets as you want, like I will create an image now. And the image is there, and I will move it above my quote, and now it's above my quote. If you want to make the image 50%, you just click 50%. If you want it to be there, it will be on the right of the first paragraph, and the second one will be there. Okay, it's just works. So you can do things like this. I won't show it to you, but you also have a widget, which is a container. A container is a content type of stereotype widget, which has a part named flow. So this is a widget which is itself a flow. So you can nest flows inside each other. So if I create a container, this container, I can add widgets inside. So you can have sub number of columns, and which will also resize based on their own size. Like I can have 50, 50, and 50. And if it's too small, they will themselves be responsive independently, because you can nest, and this is what I did in this CSS. I will just show you the CSS. Is that if you have, you see, a 25% inside another widget, then it will be 3 and 12. Like it will be automatically responsive. So if your screen is too small, the demo is nice, but I don't have time. You can have multi-level CSS-based rules for your contained flows. So that works too. Next year. so that's it with it, and I will pick up the most interesting one now. Last thing, just showing you the recipes. So recipes, like in Orchard 1, you can do everything, and I will just show you what we have here. The blog recipe. What's new with Orchard Core is that you can define dynamic values in your recipes. In this case, I create a content item ID with this custom method. It's JavaScript, and you can run any script language you want here. In this case, you can run anything. For the rules, you can only run JavaScript because it's safe. So it's explicit that it's JavaScript. You can't redefine it. But here, you can use a different language if you want. And I use this item because when I create a blog post, I will use this value as the container ID of the blog post. So if I look for the blog post which are created, where is that? In this case, this is a blog. I'm assigning its ID. And if I have a blog post, the content part, this content item ID is this one. So I'm saying inject the variable named blog content item ID as the value of this object in the database. So we can do content items which will have references or reuse the same value everywhere. It's like a dynamic language in the recipe. And you can do many things. You can also reuse the values that are sent from the outside world. In this case, because it's a setup recipe, it will have access to the admin username, to the name of the site, to the password of the user and everything. And you can reuse it to customize the recipe which is executed. In a later step, you will also be able to configure the UI from the recipe by requesting the fields that you need to run this recipe. So here we have many things. The layers, the widgets, the content types, it works. Like in Orchard 1, it's extensible. The big difference is that it's a JSON document. And I just want to show you something which is important in Orchard, which is the performance. Because it's fast. It's crazy fast. So if I go on the home page, I will go back to the correct size. And I just show you the network pane. It's 13 milliseconds to render the blog homepage, okay? 13 milliseconds. I just have one client, one request. This is the blog homepage, which means it loaded all the blog posts. There is only one. There are three widgets, but two are rendered. 3 layers to evaluate, to see if they're true or not. This is one single content item. It should be faster because less things to load. Just one content item. So if I hit 10 milliseconds, okay, that's acceptable. 10 milliseconds is a good result. I'm local, there is no lag, but still, 10 milliseconds to render is good.
No cache.
There is no cache. The only thing that is cached on this page is the menu. Okay? Everything else is live from database. And now I will do that, but using some load. So if I go to GoBench, which is a benching tool, a load generator tool, I will do that, GoBench. I will run 20 for 10 seconds, pipelining and going on this thing. It's a bad performance test because I'm debugging the website right now. Okay? So I won't do that this way. I will just run the command from the command line, so I don't have Visual Studio which runs then. It will be fast. You just need to do .NET and point to the binary. It will still be a debug version, but at least there won't be the...
Can you not just do .NET run in there?
You can, but it's slower.
What does the Control F5? So how I was doing it.
Control F5 will do the same, right?
Oh, right, okay. Not as in,
Yeah, I didn't build in release, and so usually I do that. I build in release, and so you can see all the modules which are run, and now the application is running. So if I go to 5,000 now, it's compiling the views because I restarted the app. Okay, now it's built. If I go to the blog post, oh, this is the blog post. Okay, there, and I take the URL and I go to my workbench and the URL I type it. So 20 clients at the same time during 10 seconds. And at the same time, I will do a refresh with the network just to show you how fast it is. So I'm simulating a client. It took 50 milliseconds. Even though I have 20 clients simultaneously requesting as fast as they can on the same machine. And these 20 clients generated 2,000 requests per second. And while we have 2,000 requests per second, it's only taking 15 milliseconds to render my blog post without cache at all. No cache, okay? So it's faster than Orchard One with cache in terms of rendering, in terms of throughput, and you can go higher than that because I just have 20 clients. It's my machine, but it's a good machine still.
That's with Kestrel, right?
Oh no, Kestrel is 100 times faster than that. Okay. But we are doing things here in this case. That's why we are slower. The same, well, didn't increase. Some pages which are like about page, you will reach on my machine 4,000 requests per second and still have this 15 millisecond response time. So that's super fast. With Orchard One, you get 400 requests per second only if you have the cache, the output cache. Here I have no cache at all and still 15 milliseconds per second, 50 milliseconds per request, and 2,000 requests per second of offload. So this is much better than Orchard One, and also what is much better is restart times and tenant density. And let me show you something. I will go to the admin just to create a tenant to show you how the setup compares to Orchard One. If I design a new tenant.
Enable a module as well. Show you how fast.
And I go to create a demo 02. Demo 02. I'm creating a new tenant. I'm going there. I go on the setup screen. And let me do something first just to, because I don't want to hit the homepage compilation. Otherwise it won't. Okay, that's good. Demo 02. Blog. So this is the blog, which will create the layers, the widget types, the blog item, the everything, okay? Like the Orchard One, it's almost the same recipe. We create widgets, we create layers, we create content items, we create everything. And actually more content items here. And I will hit finish setup. Are you ready to count? 3.
No connection string?
No connection string. Because yes. 3, 2, 1. I click. It took 1 second to build the full website and to render it. Okay? Approximately. 1 second. Okay. So that's super. We could check out the video actually. Let's do replay. Let's do a replay. So in Orchard One, when you hit setup, you see Orchard cooking recipe. It's more than 1 second. It's more like 15 seconds, okay, to wait for the same exact recipe, okay, the same things I created. So it's much, much faster. One of the explanation is the YesSQL abstraction, because when we want to create content types, before we had 5 tables to manage, to create things inside, and it's just not just content types, but also site settings, everything had to go through many, many tables and create many, many tables. Here, we are just creating 5 or 6 tables by default with the default recipe. In Orchard, it will be 80 tables or 50 tables by default. Okay, so that's an explanation. The rest I don't know, but for sure that. Also, as Nick mentioned, the time to actually restart a tenant. If I go to manage my tenants, so reload will just mark a tenant for reload, so you won't see anything. But if I enable a module, it will actually reload the tenant and re-request it. So if I reload this tenant by just enabling remote publishing, last time I tried it failed, but let's try again. I click, it's done. Okay, 100 milliseconds, you restart the site. It's recycled. So you can do it as much as you want. Your customers won't see it. It's magical. But that I can't explain why. It's just faster. I don't know. I don't know what's the difference. Maybe AutoFac versus the new DI thing. I don't know. Because it's doing the same thing, just enabling module. So disabling enabling module is super fast also. In terms of density also, and I have a slide. So let's finish with a slide. So better I quoted you, Rob, because yesterday you said something, so I'm like, okay, I need to note it because in my slides. Without caching, Orchard isn't terribly fast. Without caching, Orchard Core is super terribly fast. Okay. So memory usage is better, but you can see it. You cannot see that much compared to Orchard 1. You can see it with multi-tenancy because when we make the tenant very dense, like example, 500 tenants on my machine, they will take 2 gigabytes of memory in 64-bit, which means in 32-bit it will be almost half that. Okay, with Orchard, I get 800 tenants in 8 gigabytes, in less than 8 gigabytes, so 10 megabytes per tenant. Here I'm less than 4 megabytes per tenant. So it's less than half what we had in Orchard 1. So we can host, well, and on 64-bit, so on 32-bit, it should be 3 megabytes, let's say. So it's almost 3 times less memory than Orchard 1 to create a new tenant, which means you can have more tenants on a single box. Lombic will be very happy with that. Less fees. And also to load the tenants, because it's much faster, you saw that when I recycled. Well, it took to load 5,000 tenants, it took me 45 seconds or 1 minute and a half. Even if it's 1 minute and a half to load 5,000 tenants, not 500, 5,000. Today with Orchard 1, to load 200 tenants, it takes 5 minutes. So it's huge also the difference. And to start a tenant, you saw that it's super, super fast. So we can lazily load them, stop them, and the next request will load it. It's fine. The first request is 100 milliseconds, so we can aggressively unload the tenants if we think that we want to restrict the memory that are used. So Lombic should use that, definitely. That's it. Demo performance, you saw that. So last words. Why should you use Orchard CMS? Takes courage right now because many things are not done. But you can still host a blog. We don't have the archive widget, but that's about it. We have RSS, we have blog posts, we have everything. We have a theme. You know how to create a new theme now, so that will be easy. Antoine is working on his own blog, actually running on Orchard Core. When should you start using Orchard? Look at the roadmap because we are pretty accurate with what we deliver, all the features we are doing. Everything which is written here has been delivered. For this sprint, which is supposed to be done by April, we already delivered the new widget flows and layer features, and you saw they are awesome. So we'll do the same thing for taxonomy, media library, and projection until April, where we want to ship a beta version, like an official thing that you can download and set up, and we say, okay, you can run something with that. There will be breaking changes, but you should be able to run with that. And then release candidate with all the latest modules that we want to add, which are, in my opinion, easier to do than these 3 cumulated. These 3 are very important and hard to make. And once we are in beta, these ones are like peanuts. Okay, very easy to do. How to migrate? You can't. What you will be able to do is export, import your content and migrate it to the new export, import format, and try as much as possible to re-import your data. And migrating modules should be very easy because exactly the same concepts. Shapes, shape templates, drivers. There are improvements, but the same logic is there.
No iDependency.
And no more iDependency. Everything you want to inject is written, inject that implementation with this interface. It matches the way ASP.NET Core works. So everything we try to do is like ASP.NET Core. So people won't be surprised when they go in Orchard. They build a module like they build the ASP.NET Core app. Same thing. Just to show you, it will take 1 second. If I take a module, a CMS module.
The only other part is we don't have property injection either. So where you previously injected.
There is in MVC. It still has the from services, right?
It still has the from. Yes. Okay. Fine. But it's not something that we tend to use.
I'm not sure they are happy with the fact that they have from services. Do you want to remove from services? You don't like it. It's done, but you don't like it.
So there's no reason to have it, because if you want property injection, you might as well just use an API container that supports that, because it's totally applicable with the ASP.NET system.
So this is a module startup. It's a startup file like in a .NET Core app, web app. It has configure services like in a .NET Core app, and it has configure somewhere. It's there, but there is no implementation here, like framework. That and how to participate. You can follow the issue tracker because this is where we ask for features. You can comment on design issues. Design issue, when it's tagged like this, it means, okay, we want to work on that. Give feedback before we start working on that because we want to make it better. What do you think about this thing? And we have proposals, but you can say, no, I don't like it. I want it this way. And it's very useful. You can also own a feature or a module. If you care about something, own it, and we'll work together. Or you can say, I want that. So instead, can you work on that? Yes, sure. We can prioritize this because there is actually a user for that. And you can also review or test PRs. Very useful. For instance, every time we want to merge something, Antoine will check everything is working, and we are sure that when we merge in master, it works and it's as expected. Okay. So if you don't want to participate or code, you can also just review the PRs, test what we are doing, what we say we are shipping. Like Sipke shipped something, Antoine tested it. He said, yeah, it worked as you said. I trust you now. And it's merged. Okay, thank you. That's it.